This is Josh of Pixel 6 Designs. I know it's been a while since my last video and last design I've put out, but this isn't a full-time job for me, it's just a hobby. Today I'm here to show off a dice box I designed. It is basically a heavy-duty dice box. Reason for this here is that basically most dice, resin dice are quite light. They don't really do much to each other. You have your stone dice and even your zinc metal dice. But these dice from the Norse foundry guys are made out of tungsten. So they're quite dense, as you can tell. So the reason for this dice box is that while I was picking these up from the Norse Foundry guys, I actually got an opportunity to talk with them and get a suggestion as to kind of dice box I might want to use with them. They said probably best to just leave it in the bag that they offer, little silk bag that they have there. But basically the reasoning for that is that because these guys are so dense, say a wooden dice box, all the little divider walls that are inside of it and the box itself are going to get chipped and splintered and broken. And they even showed me an example of what these guys were doing to the dice boxes in transit. So in that regards, based on that conversation, I went ahead and decided to make what's essentially an isolation box for these dice. Each individual dice is isolated to keep them from moving too much and also to keep them from moving too much within the box itself, so they're not damaging the box and gouging it out. So preserve everything a bit longer, essentially. So the considerations of the dice to be made, however, the Norse Foundry guys actually use a bit of a different cut than other dice manufacturers, which I think is actually a bit nicer looking. So the D10 and percentage dice, the point to center line is a lot shorter, so you get a more squared off dice. With that being said, and kept in mind here, I do have a different version of this file where the D10 and percentage holes are wider to accommodate those larger dice. But everything else is pretty universal as far as the fit's concerned. And in regards to keeping these dice flat, given how much higher these two dice are, I do have a little bit of a bump out, which will help keep these dice in place from moving around too much. Now, it doesn't prevent them from rattling. They're always going to do that unless you have some sort of softer material in there, but it will keep them in their place and keep them from gouging and damaging the box too much. The variations of the lid and the base, I have this version, which in the files is the Norse Foundry cut. I have the one with the larger D10s for the universal cut, and then I also have a version which doesn't have any of these specialized dice cuts. It's just a hollowed out base if you want to use it as a utility box. The lid I have 3 versions of as well. I have 2 versions with the bump out there, one that has the Mjolnir pattern in there, which I thought was very fitting for them being for Norse Foundry. I have the same bump out lid without a pattern, so it's just blank, and then I have a blank one that does not have the bump out if you want to use it with the hollowed out base as a maximize interior volume utility box essentially. But that's what I'm showing off here today. If you want to download these files, feel free to follow the link in the description below, and it'll take you to my manufacturing link, and you can find these and use them for yourself. Hopefully they're as useful to you as they are for me.